What's up, crew? We are coming to you today live from a secret location in Las Vegas with none other than Anthony Simonsen. Simo, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm slowly getting myself ready for the tour season. This is a location that I practice at, known as the Compound. And we're just here with another lovely day, getting to bowl in somebody's house.
So first off, most professional athletes have a safety net, a college degree, or a supportive infrastructure. You made the decision to drop out of high school at 16 to turn pro out of necessity, not just ambition. When you look back at that 16-year-old kid going to his first regional, how much of that decision was confidence and how much of it was survival?
I think I wouldn't even say a 50-50 split, but a little bit of both. You know, I decided to move up as I was already kind of beating the adults not necessarily in the same events, but I was bowling next to them during some of the local King of the Hill stuff. So I had a little bit of confidence in that already. And then it was one of those things where I wasn't going to make any money at school, so I decided to start bowling for my living at an early age.
I think we can agree it worked out for you, so
Yeah,
some
so
good
far,
foresight.
so far so good.
So in your documentary, Leave It Behind, you opened up about a difficult upbringing that forced you to kind of grow up faster than most people. Do you think that early instability gave you the armor that you can use to kind of handle the pressure of a TV finals?
Yeah, you know, I would say so. It's one thing, you know, dealing with just whatever throughout life. We all have struggles that we go through, and I think one thing that bowling's always allowed me to do is have an escape. So I feel like I've always been really good at, no matter what's going on the outside, whenever we get to the bowling alley, it's me in the lanes and it's time to get to business.
All right, so when you started, two-hand bowling was kind of being called a fad or cheating by the old heads. Then you didn't really just adopt the style, you and Belmonte basically legitimized it. So did you feel a chip in your shoulder in those early years to prove that you weren't just a powerful bowler, that you were actually more versatile than a traditional style?
You know, I didn't in the early years try to really prove anything. Obviously, a lot of people had their opinions, but it was kind of one of those things where it's hard for me to listen to people that I'm consistently beating week in and week out as a 12, 13, 14-year-old. But you know, as they say, the name of the game is get the ball down the lane, stay behind the foul line, and however you manage to do that, more power to you, and I look forward to competing with you.
In the 2018 Gene Carter Classic, you won a title throwing a backup ball, something that most people just do for spares. So give me some insight to that decision. Was there a moment where you thought, if you lose, you're gonna look stupid?
You know, I did have that thought of, you know, maybe we're gonna look a little silly if we bowl a bad game and don't win, or bowl a good game and lose. Ideally for me, my ball reaction wasn't very good, which is why I'd switched to it the last couple games of match play, and ultimately just decided, like, hey, the backup ball is what got me over the hump to make it onto the step ladder, so let's just go ahead and rock with it, and was fortunate enough to come away with the win.
I mean, I think it's a defining moment, so it was a good choice again. I think you got some good foresight here. I'm trusting your logic. All right, so modern bowling these days is kind of being dominated by analytics, ball reps, and spreadsheets. And from what I know of you, you're more of a feel player. If I ask you how you do something, sometimes you say it's the feel. It's harder to explain. So, do you think the sport is becoming too robotic, which is kind of taking away the art of just doing something a little different, which may work for you?
I think with all sports, people are developing more ways to accomplish the same goal in their respective sport. So I think it's just nature of the beast. We're always adapting. Really, not even just in sports, in all walks of life. So it's something you gotta try to stay up with the right information and push out the wrong information. And a lot of times for me, I'll drill a ball and I'll throw it, and I'll let that give me the information that I'm looking for.
You have a gear that other two-handers don't seem to have. You can loft the gutter, you can pipe it up the fifth arrow, you can do whatever's necessary, which it shows a tremendous physical versatility. Is that something you drill for, or is that just a byproduct of just never being afraid to try something new and take a risk?
I mean, I would almost lean on it being a byproduct of just never being afraid to take a risk. Sure, there's some of those times where you don't necessarily want to say you bowl scared, but you know that, hey, 210's a good score, so let me create a ball reaction that gets me there. But I think just growing up bowling on a bunch of different patterns really helped, allowed me to play different lanes. Shout out to Plano Super Bowl for letting me bowl with all the older kids in the Sport Shot League. We used to bowl on Monday afternoons. I think having that and just being the young guy always trying to beat the olders definitely helps. I also, in that same sense, as much as I enjoy bowling on the sport patterns, I think it's very important that kids bowl on the house patterns and they learn how to strike. If you've never thrown a 7 or an 8 bagger in practice, when you have that first opportunity to do that in a tournament, it's going to be way more difficult to do if you haven't got to experience that. So as much as I enjoy bowling on the sport patterns, don't be afraid to sprinkle in some of those easier house patterns.
You've been compared to Pete Weber, not just for talent, but for the fieriness and the occasional bad boy moments. So you've said yourself sometimes you need to bowl angry. Is that anger a tool you use to sharpen your focus, or do you find yourself more times trying to hold it back and actually tame yourself?
I think as I've gotten older, I've become somewhat more mellow, and I use that somewhat very loosely. It's just one of those things, slowly trying to mature and really understand that having one of those moments where you're frustrated can lead to a couple other bad shots down the road, which is ultimately going to hurt the score even worse than that one frame or one shot that you're happen to be upset about in that moment.
I'm not going to ask about a bunch of other players, but there is one I'm going to ask you about. For a long time, the narrative was Belmo's the king, Simo's the prince. Then 2019, you beat him to deny him a record-breaking major. Did that feel like a passing of the torch? And do you see him as a mentor, a primary obstacle? Like, how do you view Belmo in your world?
Belmo's always been good to me from an early age. So obviously, it's kind of one of those things when we're off the lane. He's definitely been a mentor for me. And then when we're on the lanes, we're just as fierce as competitors as I would be with anybody else. And I think he would say the same.
Now you hold the record for being the youngest to win 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 majors. Records are great, but they also come with heavy expectation. So have you ever felt that the speed of your success could almost crush you and it may hold you back? Did you ever wake up at like 22 and say, man, what else is there to do?
No, I think the unique thing about bowling is no matter how good you are, it's not like you're just going to wake up and be better than everybody else every day. As well as I don't have any expectations for myself, so whatever other expectations anybody else has, more power to you. But I look at it as just trying to bowl as best as I can week in to week out and see where that takes me.
Now you're arguably the best urethane bowler in the world in an era where urethane is an extremely controversial topic. So do you feel like urethane is a loophole? What do you think about the complaints people have about urethane? Or do you think they're just refusing to adapt their games?
We're gonna go ahead and if you go to coolwick.com, you can get what I'm about to reference. No comments.
Fair enough. All right, he pleads the fifth. So you started so young and you've bowled so many frames. You see guys like Norm Duke bowl into their 50s. Now, given the wear and tear of the two-hand delivery and how hard you go, do you think you'll bowl for another 20 years, or do you have a specific number of titles or years in mind before you walk away?
I haven't really put any thought into that. Ideally, I would like to be able to walk away from the sport when I'm ready, and knock on wood that nothing crazy happens and I'm able to bowl as long as I would like to bowl.
All right, and final question. If you retired tomorrow, the history books are going to refer to you as a prodigy. But when you look in the mirror, do you see yourself as a talented kid and a prodigy, or do you see yourself as someone who hasn't reached their peak yet?
I don't really think of that. It's bowling's a unique game. There's going to be a lot of times where you're going to bowl the best that week and not come away with the title, and there's going to be some weeks where you didn't feel like you bowled the best and you're going to somehow find yourself bowling for the championship. as I look at it, it's been a good career through the 10 years that I've been out on tour, and I guess that's what I have to look back on at the moment.
Well, Simo, we appreciate you taking a little time to stop by. I know you're about to go out on tour, so I know you're kind of busy, and we appreciate you taking the time to answer these questions. I know you got a new YouTube channel, so everybody at home, please make sure to check out Simo's YouTube channel. And as always, if you enjoyed our video, like, subscribe, and comment on the video. So thank you very much for your time, Simo.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Clean up crew. What you gonna do is the clean up crew. Come on through to the clean up crew. Throw them balls, I hope you do, with the clean up crew. The clean up crew.
Did you hit enter?
Yeah, I think. Oh no, I hit the wrong button. There we go. I was hitting right lane and left lane. Okay.